So today we're going to learn how to solve quadratics, which is our next strategy. So if you are subbing for me, please hand out the note sheets at this time. Okay, so hopefully we're all got our note sheets out. Let's go ahead and fill in these blanks. So for step 1 in completing the square, we want to make sure that the a value equals 1. Now you actually can complete the square when a is not 1, but we're not going to teach that in Algebra 1. In Algebra 2 or pre-calc, you'll learn how to complete the square when a is not 1. But in Algebra 1, we're just going to deal with a being 1 for now. Step 2, we want to move the c term to the right of the equation. So the c term, we've talked a lot about the a and the c term. But we need to talk about actually all 3 terms today, because step 3 says let's go find the d value. D, we've never talked about d before. Well, d is b divided by 2 squared. So we need to refresh what a, b, and c are. So in standard form we have ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is the number of x squareds, the coefficient in front of the x squared term. B is what we need right now for finding this value of d. And then the c term is our constant, right? So we actually have to look at all 3 parts if we're going to use this process called completing the square. So a has to equal 1 in Algebra 1. Again, later on you'll learn how to do it when it's not 1. We have to move the c term to the right side of the equation, and we have to create a value called d, which is b divided by 2 squared. So let's get all that done. Let's go on to the next step. Step 4, we're going to add the d value to both sides, to the left and to the right. The purpose of us doing that is because we want to try to create a perfect square trinomial on the left. So we want to have a perfect square trinomial, which we talked about early on in Algebra 1. We want to try to get that on the left, because if we do, then we can solve this. So what does a perfect square trinomial look like in completing the square? It looks just like this right here, right? So now we need the whole thing, which is the left and the right. But in general, we're trying to get the equation to look like this, in this form. That b divided by 2 is the same b we used to find the d value, but notice we're not squaring it. We're just taking b divided by 2 and putting that inside the parentheses with the x, and then we're writing it in this form. Now once it's in this form, it's actually really beautiful, because then I can solve using square roots, which we learned last class period. Solving by square roots, a lot of you really enjoyed. So we talked about, hey, how do we get it so you can solve by square roots if it's in standard form? So this is how you do it. It's a process called completing the square. Now this process is also really helpful if you're required to write something in vertex form, because perfect square trinomials are like vertex form. So this bonus little step down here, bonus, if you need to write it in vertex form, you actually are almost there. By completing the square, you just have to make it y equals. So move everything around, rearrange the problem, so it's y equals your perfect square trinomial plus or minus, which ends up being your k value in vertex form. So these are all kind of tying together with a lot of things we've learned. So let's try some examples. So first off, we have to make sure a equals 1, which it does. Then we're going to move our c term. So I'm going to add 51 to both sides. I have x squared plus 14x is equal to 51. Now I'm going to go over here to the side, and I'm going to go find what d equals. Well, d is going to be b, which is 14, divided by 2 squared. So d is going to be equal to 7 squared. D is going to be equal to 49. I'm going to go add 49 to both sides. So I have x squared plus 14x plus 49 is equal to 51 plus 49. I get x squared plus 14x plus 49 is equal to 100. Now this stuff on the left can be written as a perfect square trinomial, x, and in this case it will be plus b divided by 2. So 14 divided by 2 is 7 squared is equal to 100. This is what it looks like when we complete the square. And now I solve by square roots, which we did last class period. So this is almost in vertex form too if you wanted to use vertex form, if you were asked to write it in vertex form. But you're not. We're just solving by square roots. So I'm going to go ahead and square both sides, square root both sides. I end up getting x plus 7 is equal to plus and minus. The square root of 100 is 10. And now I have my two problems. X plus 7 equals positive 10, and x plus 7 equals negative 10. Solve both of these. Well, this answer over here is x equals 3. This answer over here is x equals negative 17. Okay? Now, can you solve this problem by factoring? Absolutely. Can you solve this problem by square roots right now? No. Can you solve it by graphing? Absolutely. Can you solve it by completing the square and then doing square roots? Yes. And that's what we're learning today. Okay? Now, when I look at the second problem, again, I can solve it by factoring. Right now, some of you are probably trying to factor in your head, but we want to teach you how to solve by completing the square. So, is a equal to 1? It is. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides. I get x squared minus 12x is equal to a negative 11. I'm going to go find what d equals. D equals b divided by 2. So negative 12 divided by 2 squared. So d is equal to negative 6 squared. D will be equal to 36. I'm going to add 36 to both sides. X squared minus 12x plus 36 is equal to a negative 11 plus 36. X squared minus 12x plus 36 is equal to 25. I can go write the stuff on the left as a perfect square trinomial. X minus, in this case, b divided by 2. Well, b is negative 12, so negative 12 divided by 2 is going to get you negative 6 squared is equal to 25. Now I can go ahead and solve by square roots. Square root both sides. X minus 6 equals plus and minus 5. X minus 6 equals positive 5, and x minus 6 equals negative 5. One on the left, x equals 11. One on the right, x equals 1. Okay, let's turn your paper over. We're going to do 4 more together. Here we go. First thing, we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. X squared plus 6x is equal to a negative 8. I got to go find d. D equals 6 divided by 2 squared. D is equal to 3 squared or 9. I'm going to go ahead and add 9 to both sides. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 is equal to a negative 8 plus 9. I get x squared plus 6x plus 9 is equal to 1. Perfect square trinomial on the left is going to be x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So x plus 3 squared is equal to 1. And now I can solve by square roots. So I square root both sides. X plus 3 is equal to plus and minus 1. X plus 3 equals positive 1. X plus 3 is equal to a negative 1. This answer, x equals negative 2. This answer, x equals negative 4. Now at this point in time in this video, I bet most of you are like, I got it. I'm not going to pay attention anymore. Or, I don't learn from videos. I'm not going to do this. You have to do this. Unfortunately, the way the schedule works right now, you need to make sure you're paying attention and you know how to solve by completing the square. Here we go. Let's try our 4th one of the day. This time it's not equal to 0, but our first step is always to move the c term over. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go add 1 to both sides. That's not going to change how this problem works. I still have x squared minus 2x. It's just now equal to 3. We got to go find d still. D is b divided by 2 squared. So negative 2 divided by 2 squared. That gets me negative 1 squared, which is 1. So d equals 1. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I have x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 3 plus 1. X squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 4. Perfect square trinomial is going to be x b divided by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 gets you negative 1 squared is equal to 4. Solve by square roots. Square root both sides. X minus 1 is equal to plus and minus 2. X minus 1 equals positive 2. X minus 1 equals negative 2. X equals 3 on the left. X equals negative 1 on the right. Okay? Now hopefully if you have other questions you can go watch some other videos of somebody else teaching completing the square. If I had to guess, they're probably going to have a not 1. So that might cause some confusion, or it might help you out in the process. But I'm going to do 2 more of these. These 2 are also written kind of funny, so we have to kind of work through the hiccups that come into play. Yes, a is equal to 1, but this time the x term is on the wrong side. So I'm actually going to move 18x to the other side. So subtract 18x from both sides. Instead of moving the c term, I have to move the x term because I want it to be x squared and x on the left and then the constant on the right. So I'm going to go find d now. D is equal to negative 18 over 2 squared. So d is equal to a negative 9 squared. 81 is what d equals. I'm going to add 81 to both sides. X squared minus 18x plus 81 is equal to 40 plus 81. X squared minus 18x plus 81 is equal to 121. Perfect square trinomial x b divided by 2, so negative 18 divided by 2 gives me negative 9 squared equals 121. Now, you would go ahead and solve by square roots, but what if I asked you at this point in time to write it in vertex form? All you do then is you just move this back over. Here's what this problem would look like in vertex form. X minus 9 squared minus 121 equals y. Right? So there's what it looks like in vertex form. Now, that's not what you're doing today in this assignment, but it was in this chapter, right? Writing problems in vertex form. So having this skill is going to be really valuable. Now, let's just keep going and solve because that's what we're trying to do here. Square root both sides. X minus 9 is equal to plus and minus 11. X minus 9 equals positive 11. X minus 9 equals negative 11. Add 9 to both sides. X equals 20. Add 11. Add 9. X equals negative 2. How do I know if it's right? Of course, you can check it. You plug it back in for x and make sure it works. Both equations. Plug 20 in, see if it equals, and then plug negative 2 in, and also see if it equals into the original. Now this last one I'm going to do, notice the c term is already moved. So step 1 is done, it equals, or a is 1. Step 2 is done, c has been moved. So we just got to keep going then with step 3. So find d. D equals 2 divided by 2 squared. So d equals 1. I have x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 35 plus 1. X squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 36. Perfect square trinomial. B divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 gets me a positive 1 here. Squared is equal to 36. Square root both sides. X plus 1 is equal to plus and minus 6. Make my split. X plus 1 equals x plus 1 equals positive 6, and x plus 1 equals negative 6. Subtract 1. X equals 5. subtract 1, x equals -7. Again, you have never learned this before, so learning it on a video is really hard, but it's just what we have to do in this case. If you have questions, don't be afraid to come see me and win.